Lesson 9.12, Identifying Inverses Algebraically, Level 1. So we just learned that on a graph, all you're doing for an inverse is swapping the x and the y coordinate to make the symmetry over the line y equals x. So we can do this mathematically by literally swapping x and y. What I need to know is f of x is just really y. So that helps me to do that first. Then I'm going to make y become x, and I'm going to make x become y. And they want us to get this in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. M is slope, b is your y-intercept, hence the name slope-intercept form. So I have to get y by itself. First, I would want to add 16 to the other side. I would get, I'm going to write x plus 16 because I really like x coming first, equals negative 4y. Then I want to divide by negative 4, and when I do that, I'm going to divide everything by negative 4. I'm going to flop this around so that I have y equals, my slope is going to be a negative 1/4 x, and then 16 divided by negative 4 is negative 4. So y equals negative 1/4 x minus 4 would be considered the inverse. If I were to graph these two things, they would have that symmetry. Number 2, let's try another one. So this is really y. Swap y and make it x. Swap out x and make it y. To get y by itself, I want to add 6. So I'm going to put, I might even swap now to have 3/4 y equaling x plus 6. And then I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, would be 4/3. Okay, so I'm really technically dividing by 3/4 when I multiply by 4/3, because that's going to cancel out and make a 1. But I have to take both of these things times 4/3. So 4/3 times x makes 4/3 x. 4/3 times 6, which is over 1, I can cross simplify. I can divide out of 3. And so 4 times 2 is 8. You can do it on a calculator as well. So that is the inverse. You could also think 24 divided by 3 is 8. Okay, so then the next ones get a little bit trickier. It says for each function f of x, find f negative 1 of x. This is just the notation for an inverse. Know that if you've ever seen it on a test. I also remember when I read the quiz bowl questions, there was a question about inverses in math and what line they reflected over. It's kind of neat that I just know all those. Okay, and then f of x equals x minus 7 to the third power. Remember, we're going to make this x and then this y. We've got to get y by itself. We can't start adding 7 because it's in this parentheses because it's to the third power. The opposite of the third power would be 2 cube root. So the opposite of a cube is a cube root. I would get the cube root of x. Cube and cube root cancel, so I can just have y minus 7, no parentheses around it. Then I would add 7 to both sides. So what does y equal? The cube root of x plus 7. Just moving the parts around to get y by itself. All right, number 4, this would become x equals 7y to the 7th power. I would want to divide away 7 first. So this would be y to the 7th power equals x over 7. And then the opposite of 7th power would be the 7th root. And so that would leave me with y equals the 7th root of x over 7. And these will be multiple choice on Delta Math, so it'll make it easier for you. And then number 5, it says x equals y to the 1/4 power over 5. I want to get rid of the denominator first by multiplying by 5. That would get me 5x equals y to the 1/4 power. Hoping you remember from the beginning of the year that 1/4 power, that is really meaning it's a 4th root of y. So how do I get rid of a 4th root? I take it to the 4th power. And so here I could have taken this times the reciprocal 1/4, which is 4. That would multiply to make y to the first. So I could do that as well. But you're taking both sides to the 4th power. That would leave me with y equals 5x to the 4th power. You don't have to simplify anymore. But just know that you're taking both 5 and x to the 4th power because they were there before that step. And then the last one, pretty simple. I'm going to subtract 10. So swap this around. So I have square root of y equals x minus 10. How do I get rid of a square root? I square. So that would be y equals x minus 10 quantity squared. And that's it. That's how you find inverses.